Today we're down here at the Midway. We're down here the first Sunday of every month. The reason we come down here is to help provide information that is contrary to the official story of why the buildings fell down at 9/11. The buildings, under the government's contention, fell down due to plane strikes and fires. What we say is, yes, the planes struck the buildings, there were fires, but they didn't come down because of that. We say they came down because they were blown up, and we can prove it. We have the forensic evidence to prove that the buildings were blown up. So what we want is an actual investigation into the 9/11 event because of its incredible leverage that it has on society and the direction that our monies, our energies, and our young forces, men and women, are being spent.
What would you say to someone like myself? I mean, I think we have a lot of overlap, but I would say like allocating time to doing an investigation, like it's asking like a heavy-handed police department to investigate themselves. Like why not just strike the root and say advocate for the ideal, like get rid of like nation state, the government that has maybe had a hand in this or at least been complacent in it?
You know, I think ultimately that's probably where we're going to have to head, but right now we have to focus like a laser on the exact issue of 9/11 itself. Bring that into focus so that we can expose the 9/11 conspiracy for what it really is. Our senators, our congresspeople, we've talked to all of them. Well, not all of them, at least locally. Nobody wants anything to do with it. They don't want to touch this issue with a 10-foot pole.
We know that you can run your life better than I can,
right.
And like self-government's the ideal. So
right.
Why, like, even petitioning these folks to do an investigation seems like it's granting them more legitimacy.
Well, you know, it used to be that this country was founded on the idea that people ran the government. I think if anybody stops and takes a critical, does some critical thinking and analyzes who runs your life today, I think you're going to see that we have little to no effect in the direction this country's going in. So we need to take back the country, obviously. Many people have said that.
What would you say to people who say, the system doesn't represent me, I'm no longer going to fund it, I'm not going to pay taxes, I'm going to work around it?
That's for, you know what, ultimately it comes down to money, doesn't it? And that's what they're converting our energy and using our money and our funds and our acquiescence to allow them to do what they do. We know that what happened is not what the government said happened. So we know we can prove it. We have 300 scientists, physicists, biologists, chemists. We have 1,300 architects and engineers. We have pilots for 9/11 Truth. We have firefighters for 9/11 Truth. On and on and on and on. So we know we have a good grip on this issue, and we can use this as a leverage to turn this thing around.
I know we're on the same page for a lot of things, but that's why I like to say, for me, it's like take it to a logical conclusion, and that's not granting other people authority, not saying they have a right to your money and they have a right to spend it. Like, I know y'all have some, you may not agree with everything y'all have displayed. I'm not going to speak for you, but like, you know, like this war, like one day in Iraq, we could pay for this much education or this much health care. Like, I would just say let folks keep their money, let the market, let voluntary interactions decide all these things.
Well, I would too, and it goes back to taking charge of your finances and your direction of your society, your country, the human family. I mean, everything is affected by this. Our military-industrial budget has over doubled. I mean, you know, we're talking a $500 billion increase almost since 9/11. They've never been a better job creating more terrorists than are occurring right now with our intervention in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, wherever we are. I mean, we are literally creating the enemy that we supposedly are after.
Don't you think the structure of government in itself is, I mean, talking about electing folks, it's essentially like if we got 51% of people to vote, you know, for the government to do something that we wanted to do, isn't that not force on other people? Like we're taking money from other people?
Absolutely.
I mean, shouldn't that whole system just be eliminated?
Well, that's the idea of democracy. This country was founded on a republic. Democracy, another word for democracy, is mob rule. In other words, 51% dictates what 49% do. And there's a lot of resistance there. There's a lot of animosity. There should be, on the very minimal level, percentage representation. And that's going to take multiple parties. And
I mean, is that? I guess the question I have though is like, if we have a scarce amount of time and resources, should we be out advocating that we create a third party or run for office or petition these politicians, or should we just say, don't grant them authority, live your life, don't give them your money, you know?
Well, you know, the latter is more direct action. I like that idea, but I don't know how many people would follow that. Look, there's 50 million people that I know of that are doing, I mean, not personally, but I've heard there are 50 million people that follow that second idea already. They've opted out of the system. They're not paying taxes, and they survive quite well because they live close to the earth. They live with a monicum of government influence, and I just came from an island community in Canada. They have no government. They have no oversight, no police. They have their own currency, and guess what? It runs perfect. So you take from that what you want to. I can tell you that it does exist, and it can exist, and government is a major part of the problem.